Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Rainbow Table. I am Miss Davis.
I am Sylvia.
And Miss Jones.
So we are here talking about, oh, wait, before we get to that part, hold up, y'all, hold on. Let me rewind, because I get carried away. First of all, I'd like you guys to go to my Rainbow Table. Getting confused, Lord. Getting excited, baby. Oh. Come on back. Okay, first of all, we'd like for you guys to go to my YouTube channel. It's called Rainbow Table Coming Out. Like, subscribe, hit that notification, subscribe, hit that notification, subscribe, hit that notification. And today we're going to talk about, the subject is called
The trans experience from start to finish.
And this is my friend, Miss Sylvia. For those of you guys that don't know, this is a good friend of mine. Thank you. And so is that. That's Miss Jones, 911, Miss Jones.
Yes, 911.
Okay, so Miss Sylvia's going to share her experiences.
Well, first of all, let me just say this. I've lived the trans experience ever since 1980 and been doing it for over 40 years. And so Glenda's going to ask some questions so you can get more insight on the trans experience.
Amen. Go ahead, Miss Jones. First question.
My first question to you would be, what was your experience mentally?
My experience mentally was, you got to remember, this was in the 70s and 80s, and we really didn't have a name for it then. It was not called transgender. It was called transsexual. A lot of people back in them times was calling it drag queens and cross-dressers, which is not, let me just say this. A cross-dresser is someone that just dresses in women's clothes just for the moment. They don't live as that. They do not live as that gender role. A trans woman lives as a woman all the time. The only thing is her body parts don't match up to her inside. So that's why she transitions over. And let me also say this. Everybody who's in the trans experience does not want a sex change.
Amen.
Some people just want to be who they are and live as they are, and they're comfortable with that. Some do get the sex change and some do not get the sex change. So being trans does not necessarily mean that you want to get rid of things.
Amen.
So let's clarify that.
Get educated now. You feel me? Because we don't want to have to put our paws on us. Go ahead, Miss Sylvia.
Right. So yeah, and so a lot of people get that confused. They think that that cross dressers and drag queens and all that fall up under the same umbrella,
Absolutely.
which they don't. So we would just want to clarify that as well. For me, the only way the trans thing comes into play with me, because I live my life as a heterosexual woman. I work and live as a heterosexual woman. The only time that the trans part comes into play is when I'm dating or in a relationship. Other than that, it doesn't come into play at all for me. Some people over exaggerate it and different things like that. But as far as me coming up, when I was younger, I knew I was always different. I knew that I was feminine, and people used to say, why do you walk like that, or why do you talk like that, or I always was tiny and had little feminine ways about me. And so yeah, in school I got picked on a lot, and I had to fight a lot, had a lot of fights because of who I was and things like that. But I knew that choosing this lifestyle, and when I say choosing it, it chose me rather. I didn't choose it, it chose me. These was the cards that I was dealt, so I just felt like I was going to play them to the best of my ability and try to be the best at what I do. I'm a type of person, I always do things 100%. So I say, well, if I'm going to be like this, let me be the best at it. And I always try to make sure, when people look at you, they already, when they know you're trans, they already sizing you up for one, or they try to they just look down at you like you're a lower class or something. So I always try to
tear you down.
Yeah, try to tear you down or try to make
Like you ain't no real woman and stuff like that.
Well, that too, or they think that you're trashy or you this and that. So I always try to make sure that I was on point with everything, like my cleanliness and the way I looked. Anytime I went out, I always try to make sure that everything was just perfect at all times.
Done. Miss Sylvia is done.
So Yeah. So, Glenda, I think you had
What
a couple
questions you have,
Yeah,
Miss
the
Jones?
question that I was asking you, with all of that, and like you said, being picked on, how did that later on affect you mentally? How, I guess the question it's a two-part question. How did it affect you mentally, and how did you get through it mentally? Does that make sense?
I think God just made me strong. I think he knew that this was was going to happen to me, and he just gave me a strong mind, because I would have to say a lot of trans people have not been so lucky, and they have,
Okay.
wanted to commit suicide, or they got
Yes.
on drugs and alcohol. I've never been on any kind of drugs or alcohol. I never felt like what I was doing was wrong. So I don't know. To say how did it affect me mentally, it really didn't affect me mentally. I just put it like this. I say, well, this is what it's going to be, so I'm just going to be the best at it, and who likes it, and who don't.
Right.
Okay. With that being said, I'm glad you talked about who likes it and who don't. When it comes to acceptance, not with your family so much, but with your friends, your so-called friends, and even possibly the men that you date, were they ever accepting? Did they have an issue with going out with you
Yes, in
in
the
public
beginning.
places?
Yes.
And okay,
Yes.
even your friends?
Well, not so much as my friends. I've never really experienced that with my friends. Any of my
Sure,
friend
not
girls.
me.
There has been several men that I have dated in my younger days, and yes, they was afraid to go out in public, or was afraid of what their families would say. But especially in the black community, it's so stigmatized
Right.
about gender roles,
Yes.
and
Right.
they think just because they're going with you that they're gay too, which is not the case.
Okay.
Break that down for us.
Okay, so they feel like just because you was born, let's say male, you was assigned male at birth, and now you're female. To them, you still male. So
Okay.
if their son is going with you, then they're thinking that something must be wrong with them too. They must be gay too. But they see you as a female. They're looking
Right.
at you as a female, not as another male.
Right. Okay.
So if they're looking at you as a female and not as another male, why did you go through? Why did they have a problem with being with you in public?
It's because of what society says. They
Okay.
didn't. So
Okay.
if society wouldn't bother them, they probably wouldn't have a problem with
Okay.
it.
Okay,
That makes sense.
So did that affect you in any kind of way?
Yes, it does mess with your self esteem a little bit.
See, that's what I mean by mentally, because your self-esteem, if it's messing with your self-esteem, it goes back to your mental thoughts. It goes back to the thoughts of how you feel about yourself. And with those feelings, what did you do with those feelings?
With the feelings, well, when that happened, of course, it sort of makes you feel a little some type of way. But what I did was I just stepped my game up a little more. I just said, okay, well then I need to step my game up a little more, and take my femininity up another notch.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
So it just made you a better person.
It made me a better
you
person.
You used the negative for the positive.
For the positive.
So that you could have your sanity.
Exactly.
So that's where the strength came in. And not to mention that you are a spiritual person. You believe in God just like anybody else believes in God.
Right.
And so I get that piece of it. I'm proud of you. I'm honored to be your friend.
I'm
Let
honored
me
to be
just
yours
say
too.
this
Thank you.
publicly. I'm very honored to be your friend. And I am happy to know that you didn't have too many bad experiences. But let me ask you this. What would you say to the trans that are having a tough time in all areas, in relationships and in with their mental stability, the things that they are going through, how they're handling it, and also the transitioning process of making their bodies match with what they feel on the inside? What type of suggestions and tips and pointers that you can give to those trans that are having those three issues?
Well, the first thing that I would like to say is get with someone that has already lived the life and has more experience than what you have.
That's good.
Talk to them. First of all, let me say this. If you really, really want to be at your fullest, if you really want to be at your best, the first thing you're going to have to do, let me just say this too, it's not cheap. It's not cheap to get yourself to looking the way you want it to look. You know, you're going to have to do multiple things to yourself. Number one is, I would say, at least be on a hormone regimen at least a year or two. And
before you make the transition?
no, it don't have to necessarily be before. It could be, you're definitely going to have to do it, you know, while you're transitioning.
Okay.
Because if you don't, then people can be very cruel out here. You know, if you're not looking to part, they can be very cruel. It is getting better. It is getting better than when it was when I was coming up. You had to somewhat pass, or you would have a very difficult time, like trying to get jobs and stuff. But a lot of people are more open to it than they was when I was coming out.
Okay.
Number two, know your worth. Know what you want and how to, you know, and make a game plan of how you want this to look. You know, write down what you want to, you know, get your stuff in order. You know, get your, like I say, get on your hormone treatments and stuff like that, and start planning for your surgeries if you need some surgeries. I will suggest this, girls, if you're listening, if any trans women are listening at this time, if you're young trans and just getting started, please do not do any type of silicone. Do not do any kind of pumping parties. Don't let nobody put anything that in you that is not a PhD and a board certified plastic surgeon. Listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, get pumped with no silicone. It could cost you your life.
Amen.
It could cost you disfigurement and
For the rest of your life.
for the rest of your life.
That part.
I got silicone myself, and one of my breasts is disformed now. So, I've seen girls who've gotten very disfigured, and I've seen girls who have died, and even I've seen some females who've had to have that stuff removed, and it just, please, just don't do it. Please don't do it.
So at what age did you know your outside that met your inside?
I knew it like 14 and 15, but like I said, I didn't know the language that went with it.
Right.
So
what would you say to the 14 and 15-year-olds and even the younger ones who are trying to come out, who are struggling with their identity? I just want to say this, that I work for mental health, and I work for a group home with younger children. They're coming to us a little younger than usual. And we did have a transgender. I can't say her name.
right.
But she was only at the time, I want to say 10 years old. 10 years old. And I had this baby for 3 years. And this baby knew her identity and knew that she didn't feel herself. She didn't feel like a girl. She felt like a boy. She even had her own name. So we went through the process. Thank God we had met a therapist who basically was, her specialty is in transgender children. And we tried to get as much support around this baby as possible. So for the ones who don't come across that type of support, what would you say to them? And not only what would you say to them, but do you have any resources or places where they can go to be able to talk to and have an outlet? Whether it be a church or it be a therapist or people that you know. Because Sylvia, you're well-rounded and you're around a lot of people. You know a lot of people. So what would you suggest to them?
What I would suggest
To those
them
babies?
is you can contact a lot of things now. You can contact the Transsexual Women's Clinic. I don't know a lot about the female to male transgenders at this point, but I think Beverly Moss, she's a counselor, and I think she can point you in the right direction as far as getting the help that you need, or just reach out and try to find someone that you can talk to, another transgender as yourself, you know, someone who's living the life and maybe, talk to them and try to get under them and get some mentorship and so forth and so on.
So is this fair to say, Carolyn, that these babies...
They don't know me by that, Miss Davis.
Miss Davis, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Miss Davis. But is it fair to say that maybe they can inbox you for the ones that are struggling?
Yeah, they can. They can go to my Facebook page. It's called Rainbow Table Davis. You can message me, inbox me, and you can also leave a comment down below. You can comment and give us your information. And we can get back to you and let you know what resources that we have researched to give you going forward. Because like we said before at the Rainbow Table, everybody's welcome. And just for the record, this is my friend, Miss Sylvia. She is genuinely my friend.
Yes.
So if you come for her, that means you coming for me. But guess what we're going to give you in return? Nothing but love.
That's right. We're going to put them paws on you.
Because God is love and love is for everyone. So Miss Sylvia, is anything else you want to say before we end?
I want to say this, though, and I need the world to know this. I was talking about you yesterday, and I was talking to Miss Davis, and I was telling my partner how wonderful you are. And I remember when I had to go for my surgery, and I'm not a trans, but I still had some surgery. I just had to say that. They're going to be like, whoa, that's a fine trans. Yeah.
She done ran around. Go on with the story. You about to run out.
But my baby here took care of me, came to my house when my mother left. Because she couldn't stay that long, and she's an older person. She's in her 80s. Syl was the one who came and got me. She said, I can't take care of you, girl, at your home, but I can take care of you at my home. And when I tell you she took care of me and nursed me back to health, I even got sick on her, and she took care of that. And for that, I will always be dedicated to you and love you for the rest of your life.
Well, that's what friends are for.
Love.
Yes.
Love is at the table. Peace is at the table, kindness, understanding, and as we said before, everybody is welcome at the Rainbow Table. And again, we like for you guys to go to my YouTube channel. It's called Rainbow Table Coming Out. Like, subscribe, hit that notification, subscribe, hit that notification, and we thank you. And again, if you have any comments, any concerns, any questions, leave it below. You can leave your information below. You don't have to ask the question below, and we'll get back with you and give you the information.
Let me say one more thing, too. This is the thing. This is America, and everybody has the right to their opinion. Okay. You don't have to accept anything, but always respect people for who they are and what they are.
Right.
And the same people that you're sitting up there picking at and messing with, you better be careful, because your child might be like that.
Amen. You hear that?
Your child might be like that. The same ones that y'all be giving the rah-rahs to, I would suggest that you be careful, because one of your children might be that way.
Yes.
So,
and like just remember that. Go ahead, Miss C.
Yeah, and like I said before, you don't have to accept anything. You have the right not to accept it.
Right.
You don't have to like it, but it don't take nothing to respect it. And I'm out.
And remember, God is love and love is for everyone.
Everybody.
So we thank you. Peace. And have a good one. Toot toot. Boo boo. Boom.
Hit that note.